Hi guys, we got a lesson video, and this is kind of a neat one. It's new. Most of my videos are from 2020. This is a 2024 joint. You're welcome. Let's check out the second half of 2.7. We're still dealing with those literal equations from the previous video, but we're going to go a little harder on the formulas. You can see here we've got an example already kind of worked out fully for you, where we have the formula for circumference, right? If you read through all this, you'll see circumference equals pi, which is 3.14, 159, not bragging, I can do 6 digits. C equals 3.14 times D, that's our given formula, but the question is asking for the diameter. So they tell you the circumference, they give you C, how do you find the diameter? Well, it can be helpful with these kind of problems to take this formula and rewrite it so D is by itself instead of having C by itself. That's what we're doing with literal equations. That's what we're doing with the formula problems. So to get D by itself, they divided both sides by pi. The pi canceled out over here. We divide C by pi. That's where it gets this D equals C over pi. This is nice because then I can just take my calculator, type in 24,900, that's the circumference of the Earth, and the, what's this thing called? Pi, I can plug in pi, and the calculator will then spit out this 7,930 miles, and you get the diameter right there. Basically, you do the algebra with just the letters, and then let the calculator do the arithmetic all in one step. It's helpful, it's handy, it has some applications. Let's look at an example that we'll actually have you do on the homework. This is a geometry problem. I'll read it to you. It says the volume of a cylinder, V, is given by the formula V equals pi times r squared times h, where r is the radius and h is the height. So you've got a cylinder, think of a Pringles can or something, and we've got this formula for its volume, how much air is in that Pringles can. First, they want you to solve the formula for h. In other words, we want to get the height by itself, which means we would know in a problem what the volume was and we would know what the radius was. We would need to figure out what the height is. So they start by saying solve it for h, much like we did in the last assignment. And we start with the formula, V equals pi times r squared times h, and we get rid of the pi first. So we divide both sides by pi. The pi would cancel out on the right, and we'd end up with pi on the bottom on the left. So V divided by pi equals r squared times h. No more pi. Pi is gone on this side. We only have the pi on the left side. We have moved it from right to left. Okay. Now, we don't know what V is yet, so we're not going to simplify it any further. There's no actual calculation to be done here. We're just rearranging, just like we did in the last section. V over pi. Now, we have to get the r squared and move it over as well. Since it's r squared times h, just as we did before, we're going to divide both sides by r squared. When we do that, it should look like this, okay? Now, it gets a little weird when you try and write v divided by pi divided by r squared. Just take my word for it for right now. When you divide a fraction by something else, you just put that something else in the denominator. We can explain why later, but for now, that's all we need to do, okay? So divide both sides by r squared, you get v over pi r squared equals h, and ta-da, h is by itself. Mission accomplished. We did what we set out to do. Part A is done. Taking a break so that we can pause the video if we need to get caught up. And we begin again. Part B says, find the height of the cylinder with volume 2,500 times pi cubic feet and a radius of 10 feet. Okay? In other words, V equals 2,500 pi, and radius, the R is 10. That's what I got confused there. R and 10. R is 10. So we take that equation and we plug in our values. 2,500 pi divided by pi times 10 squared. Just plug in the values from the word problem into the formula, punch this into the calculator, beep, bop, boop, beep, and yes, I'm pausing so you can try on your own. You should get 25. Okay, that was a short pause. If you need to go back, please do. And if you're watching this video with a sub, ask them to rewind. They'll help you out. Good. Next question. Try one more. If you're looking at the note sheet as it exists currently in 2024, there's a third problem. I skipped that one, but we do want to look at this one because this one does some different stuff. It says the equation of a line containing the points A, 0, and 0b is given by the formula x over a plus y over b equals 1. Okay. This is a, we'll say, unusual for our class way to show a line. We will do lots of stuff with this, but not this format. Anyway, we are going to be asked to solve this formula for y. So this y right here, we want to get by itself. All right. Now, we start off x over a plus y over b equals 1. And we ask ourselves the same question we're always asking. If we want y to get by itself, what do we get rid of first? And the first thing we're going to get rid of is the x over a. Okay. The way to get rid of this, since it's its own separate term, is we will just subtract it from both sides. X minus a minus x minus a equals 0. So we have 0 plus y over b. We remove this from the left side, but we have to then move it to the right side to keep things balanced. So we have 1 minus x over a on this side. And just as we've been saying, what is 1 minus x over a? It's just 1 minus x over a. We don't know what x is, we don't know what a is, so we can't combine it with 1. We leave it as it is. Now, we then still have a b to get rid of. We want y by itself. How do I get rid of the b? Well, this is y divided by b, so just as we've been doing, we're going to multiply the left side by b, but we're also going to multiply the right side by b, which is a little different than most of what we've done, because usually when we have these two terms, the 1 and in this case the minus x over a, usually the problems we've done, we've had to divide, and so we just draw the big long fraction bar, put whatever it is on the bottom, and we say, hey, I divided everything by, in this case, b. But here I'm multiplying, so I have to remember that while there is no fraction bar, I still have to multiply this entire side by b, so I'm going to make sure that I use parentheses when I'm doing the multiplication. Okay. Now, the final step is to write it all simplified, and I will accept y equals b parentheses 1 minus x over a. You do not need to distribute the b. You're welcome to, but don't. I don't want you to make a mistake and have you like losing half credit because you did something that's not mathematically accurate. We don't really talk about what this would look like. If you really feel like pushing yourself, talk to me about it the next time you see me. I'll show you what it would look like. But otherwise, just leave it outside the parentheses. If I was solving a problem where I wanted to figure out what y was, I would be able to plug in b, plug in a, plug in x, and get my answer that way. So this is good enough for what we're doing in 2.7. When we work with other linear problems later on, we'll do more, but for now, we can just leave it like this. Okay? So, to recap, we are dealing with these formulas. We're doing the same thing that we did yesterday. We have, this is going to take longer than I wanted. 1 second. You should edit this out. Heck no, who's got the time? There we go. We are working with these same literal equations from the last video, okay? And we are manipulating them to fit where we need them to go, all right? Fit how they need to look so we can solve different problems with them. And that's what your homework's going to be asking, okay? When we are done with the video, rewatch it if you need to, and then you should be ready to complete the homework assignment. Once that's all done, check with me on how to get it turned in, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you later.